So, should we go back to the position, the coordinator position?
Yeah.
Is that next? And I'm dying to hear what happens. I'm sure they hire you.
They did, yeah. And I am a successful coordinator in a tank top. So, we're talking about this. Remember, it's growing, the pizza party that goes sour, but still the message is, yes, we're growing, perfect. And I talked to my Timpanogos principal, and he's like, oh, this is such a good idea. You should be the coordinator. Yeah. And he was so on board because that's who he is. And so we're at the Spanish Spanish committee meeting again. And I have to sit across my, arch nemesis. And I just have to sit there. Coconut. And, which is so interesting because we had babies at the same time. And the supervisor was trying to make small talk one day. And he said, hey, are you teaching your kids Spanish? And I said, yeah, I'm planning on it. And he's like, what about you? Are you teaching the other Latino? And he was like, no, why would I? Absolutely not. That is a disservice to them. They need to learn English. They're here. Why would I teach them Spanish? Oh. Right after I said, of course, it's very important to me. So anyway, very internalized racism. He's a victim too. We both lose from white supremacy. But anyway, so I'm in this meeting and they're talking about growing. And I look at my principal and he kind of gives me this I got it from here. And he's like, I had a suggestion. What if the coordinator, what if she, and kind of really obviously looks over at me, and then my supervisor looks over at me and he was like, oh, yeah, well, we obviously Salt Lake needs to give us permission for that, but that's a thought. And my principal just kept going. He was like, yeah, she could grow it. She knows.
It's a hypothetical she, but it's a feminine pronoun. Mm-hmm. So giving you the idea that it might be you. Right.
Because the supervisor had said he was like, yeah, and a coordinator would be perfect because he could. And then my principal would say, or she, really painfully, obviously. And everyone in the room understood, and he said, we got to talk to Salt Lake about it. And so I thought, well, hopefully that doesn't take forever. Fast forward, by the way, that teacher that I got to come back, he got let go from his job. And he was talking to me. He's like, hey, I got let go. And now all I have is this part-time Spanish teaching job. And I want to work full-time. And I was like, yeah, you should. You should fight to, fight for yourself. Have them rehire you. You can go through the hiring process again, prove yourself. And then you could teach like me when I was full-time. All English. What happened
to Provo, by the way?
He was teaching them.
Okay, just part-time.
Mm-hmm, just part-time. And then he got let go. So he was kind of, I need a full-time job. And I said, you should go through the program again and you should get rehired and be like me when I was full-time, where you have the English load with 1 or 2 Spanish classes and your full-time salary. And he was like, yeah, I need to. Okay, so he's looking for a job. I'm kind of wanting this coordinating position. Fast forward, it's growing slowly. Anything about the coordinating? No, this is uncharted ground. We still haven't figured it out. Usually coordinators have been teaching seminary for 10 years or so. This isn't something that we know. And I said, well, I know, but the Spanish program is new. So we can't, you know what I mean by that? You know what I'm saying is if it's new, we just have to keep trying it. It's new. He was saying coordinators usually, they have time under their belt and they go to a different state. It's hard to just give you a coordinating job. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Sure. So I kept waiting. And then my principal is microwaving his lunch and he said, hey, did you get the email? And I said, no, what email? And he was like, they're going to have a coordinator. And I was like, really? Did they decided? And he was like, yeah, they decided to give it to the guy teaching at Provo. He's going to be the coordinator. And I was like,
part-time guy?
Yeah.
Who wasn't even full status?
Mm-hmm. And I was like,
had way less experience than you?
Oh, yeah. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, I think it's because you're a mom. And I was like, really? And it was just it was when someone says something to you, but you didn't really hear it because when they said it, everything is shattered kind of inside your head. And I was like, really? So that was devastating. I didn't even get to be interviewed even or talked to or anything or what.
You didn't even get to interview.
No. And granted, they don't do that in seminary. You don't get interviewed. You don't really apply. You just get moved up. You could request. You could be like, hey, I want to be a coordinator. And they're like, well, think about it. And then they decide. You don't get, it's not like an equal opportunity job. So I was devastated. And I was in the car and I called my supervisor right away. And I said, hey, what? My principal just told me that you had decided that the teacher in Provo, the part-time teacher that I got hired at Provo, got the coordinating position. And he was like, no, that's not. And I said, well, he just told me that it was in an email. And he's like, I don't know what email he's talking about. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, he's just confused then. Principal's just confused, bless him. He's a sweetie and maybe a space cadet, whatever. I was like, and I felt fine. I was like, okay, good. He's like, Laura, you will always be kept in the loop, okay, of everything. And I was like, please do. And then I played my card. I was like, because if someone's going to be chosen to be a coordinator, I'd love to sit down with this person to train them and make sure they have all the tools. And he was like, absolutely. And I was like, and also I was considering that job myself. And he was like, I understand. Okay, nothing. This is April. Summer. I'm with my family celebrating my 30th birthday in California. And I got a text from my friend in Provo, at Provo High, the one who I got the job, the one who was teaching part-time. And he said, guess what? I just got the coordinating job. And I was like, you did? Yay.
As if you'd be excited.
Yeah, blessed. He didn't know. So I was like, I'm so excited for you. And then I had a panic attack that night, actually. It was pretty bad. I was so glad my family was with me. It was really emotionally difficult.
That just so people who haven't had a panic attack know, that's when you feel like you want to die.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly it. Yeah. When you feel stuck, for me, I feel stuck in my head and I feel like I'm going crazy and I can't run away and my body leaves, it's kind of dissociation, depersonalization is some of the symptoms that I feel. And it was just high anxiety, just feeling stabbed in the back, feeling betrayed, feeling lied to. Why did he tell me that? Why did he tell me that? They told him that. Why did he get it? Why did he get it? Why didn't I get it? Is it because he's this? Just a million thoughts. And I was not in the emotional place to just sit down with my thought. It just all came at once. So I gathered myself and school was starting in 2 weeks.
How many years did you work for CES by this point?
At this point, from 2013, this was 2019.
So 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I started, but it was just deflation. I mean, I barely made it to class. I was late all the time, and I feel bad. The students paid the consequence for, I don't know if I was in a depression. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah.
It was just horrible.
Situational depression.
Yeah. Yeah, where I just dragged my feet all the time. And then I had to pretend like I didn't know. So then we get called to the Spanish committee again, meeting with everyone. And the supervisor stands up in front of me and he's like, well, we'd like to announce the new coordinator of the Spanish program. And he stands up and he's like, I just want to say this coordinating position came through revelation. I sat in his classroom and the Spirit affirmed that he was to be the coordinator.
How'd that make you feel? Say it.
Like shit. Yeah.
Why?
Because he had talked to me. First of all, so many things. That's where I was like, wait a minute. Is God not aware of me? Number one. Number two, why did he give him that prompting? I'm the one who knows the program. I'm the one who, don't I deserve it? Selfish. I felt selfish. No, that's your ego. You think you deserve it. You don't deserve it. Jose deserves it. All of them, all of the emotions, you're being selfish. Jose's the one that needs the full-time job, not you.
He's the breadwinner.
He's the breadwinner.
He's the
yeah. You can't take this away. Yeah.
I'm just a mom.
I'm just a mom. That's okay. No, I do deserve it. This is my expertise. How many years does he have experience does he have? 1. I have 6.
Oh. But 6 times the experience, and you got him hired.
And I got him hired. I got him, and all that too. And I'm like, hey, you're here because of me. Just so many. And then I'm like, oh no, that's vindictive. Just back and forth and back.
It's not humble. It's not Christ-like.
It's not Christ-like. Yeah, I'm being selfish.
Yeah. Which just begs the question: when normal, sexism is wielded against women who are passed up for positions, is it better if somebody says that it's from Revelation, or is it worse when somebody just says, right. I straight up don't think you're qualified, and they hire a man? Which one's better? I wonder.
It's always worse when God is.
It's always worse when God.
But you can literally psych yourself up, I'm guessing, to be like, okay, I prayed about it, and then you will find your own confirmation bias to be like, oh, now I'm right with the decision. Where if God wasn't involved, then you can actually rebel against the system a little bit more, because that makes you complacent then, because you're like, oh, you speak for God over me on my behalf, so maybe you have a better connection with God than I do. And I think a lot of women in the church. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So a lot of women in the church.
Is that how it worked?
I don't know.
No, it's a good question.
Were you okay with it in the end whatsoever? Or is
because God said it.
Honestly, amazing that you bring that up, because in my psyche was incredibly, my spirituality and the psychology of my spirituality was just I was like, well, I can't fight against God. It's revelation. I just have to accept it. And then I would wake up and say, well, I know general authorities are wrong sometimes. Could supervisors be wrong sometimes? No, he said he felt the Spirit, and he got teary-eyed, which always adds the extra. If you feel the Spirit with tears, that might be true.
He pulled a Henry iron.
Yeah. So I just...
Tears don't lie.
Yeah, right? And so I just, yeah, that's an interesting question. I love it and hate it, because I'm like, did it make it better or worse? I think it made me feel better at the time. I'm like, it was God, fine. God makes the executive decision.
But then you were depressed.
But then I was depressed. Yeah.
So that's called
suppression. Mental health.
That's called suppression of emotion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because then I just fought with myself all the time.
And you're reeling.
Yeah. And I came home and my husband is so mad at poor victim Jose, He's like, I'm so mad at him. And I'm like, what? He doesn't know. And my husband's argument was like, yes, he should have checked. He should have had common sense to think of the woman who was behind all this. And I was like, maybe. So.
And you did the favor of getting him hired.
I did. Yeah. And so, and I hope, I don't know if he'll listen to this, but
system's not people. So it's not Jose's fault.
No, it's not. And I literally never was bitter against him. I really wasn't. I didn't let myself, because he wasn't in the know of anything. Could he have asked? Could he have thought? Yeah.
Still hurts.
Sure. It still hurts. Yeah.